And your family, parts of your family are still involved in the company. So your mom runs your, merch company.
Hmm.
You want to talk a little bit about that? I think a lot of YouTubers kind of default to like outsourcing to a company that exists, like a Fanjoy or something like that. You've kind of you've been able to build an internal merch company over the last 4 years
Yes.
that has scaled pretty wide into other categories like toys and things that you've created now. Let's talk
Yeah.
a little bit about that because that's a
So
large business we haven't touched on.
merch is pretty huge. I started merch about, I want to say, 4 years ago, and I started off, contacting some random designer that I found on Twitter, and I was like, "Hey, man, I need a logo for my brand. I don't really know what I want, but I wanted to say Unspeakable, and that's about all I knew." So finally got a logo, and then what I did is I didn't want to go to one of these companies. Like, I do everything the hard way because I feel like if you do it the hard way, that's the right way. So I was like, I'm going to do all this myself because I want to learn how to make a merch company. So after I got my logo, I contacted a screen printing company that was in my area that had a lot of great reviews. I think I got 300 or 400 shirts printed and maybe like 200 hats, 3 or 4 different colors, and they all came in all different sizes, all the youth sizes, all the adult sizes, whatever. Went over to Home Depot after that. I bought some shelves, and this was still at my mom's house. I was still living at my mom's house, and we had a two car garage, and we didn't have a big house or anything fancy like that. We're in a pretty normal neighborhood, but she gave me my part of the garage since I was old enough to drive a car, and I moved my car outside. I cleared everything out, and I made that spot in my garage my new merch fulfillment center. So I started promoting merch on the channel, and when I started promoting merch on the channel, I think I was almost at 1 million subs, and then pretty much from there it just grew. Merchandise grew with the channel.
Mhm.
As I made more videos, I promoted more merch. As I promoted more merch, some of the merch promos that I would put on videos would get 1 million views, and it was just, I was just marketing my merch. And eventually it got to the point where we had to move merchandise into the house, and it took over the biggest room and the garage. And then it got to the point where I couldn't handle it because I was focusing a lot on my videos. So my mom wasn't working at the time, so she was like, "I'll take over." And I was like, "Sure thing. I mean, you already live here, like, take over." So she started fulfilling stuff, and then it got to the point where I moved out of the house because, one, I wanted to move out and start my own thing, but also the merchandise was actually flowing over into my room. So turned my room into more merch fulfillment. And then further down the line, we got our first office space, which I think was like about 3,000 square feet, and we outgrew that and we had 5 or 6 employees there, and then we completely outgrew that, and now we're in a 8,000 square foot warehouse. We have nearly 300,000 products in stock, and we're doing well over 10,000 orders a month.
Wow.
Gosh.
Yeah, so it's grown huge. I mean, we have USPS coming every hour to pick up stuff. It's pretty unreal how much it's grown. I obviously didn't see it getting this big, and I don't know what I'm going to do with myself in 2 to 3 years when I have to get another warehouse. It's size.